Doing stuff. Okay. Hi guys, I'm Megan. They asked me to do a CHEDTalk, but so here's a CHEDTalk. I'm a college student. I don't really have any like professional background, but I do have some things I can tell you. So that's what I'm gonna do today. So who am I? I'm Megan Charity. I'm the class of 2016. So if you were a freshman on the team and you're now a senior, I was probably you probably saw me. I was around. I was on the team then. That is the entire junior class of the robotics team. There was a lot of us, and then we all graduated at the same time. So yeah, those are all my buddies when I was on the team. So I was a member of Blue Cheese for 4 years. I was lead programmer, so freshman year to senior year, I was dedicated to the team. Now, I don't do robotics, I play Quidditch, so I'm on a Quidditch team now, and I am the chaser. And how many of y'all know what Quidditch is? Oh, most of you. Okay, yeah. Those of you who don't, it's a Harry Potter sport. It's super fun. It's like if you combine football, dodgeball, and wrestling all into one sport going on at the same time with no padding. It's really fun. I get concussions. It's fine. So now I go to VCU. I'm an undergraduate. I'm a junior by years, but I'm a senior by credits. So I'm going to graduate this semester, and hopefully I will go on to grad school and get my PhD at NYU. So what I do at VCU, aside from like studying and playing Quidditch, I am in the NLP lab. It's a research lab, natural language processing. I also do VR, so I went, not technically abroad, but I went to a different university in Minnesota to do a research project, and I'll talk about that later. I also do AI and game design. That's where my background is, and where I kind of got started in like research and like doing what I am now, and what I'm continuing to do when I go into grad school. Okay, so what have I done? I've done a lot of natural language processing research projects. Those are all my posters, and that's like my game design portfolio right there. I did a research experience for undergraduates, REU, at the University of Minnesota, and that's where I worked on my VR skateboarding project, and I'll talk about that more later. Right now, I work in a different research lab doing more VR, but it's for physical therapy, so it's super cool. I still get to make video games, but now it's for like health reasons and helping people in the hospitals and stuff, and that's on the MCB campus of VCU. I also TA a class, so I'm a teacher's assistant, so it's just, I want to go into and be a professor, so that's really good experience for me to like work with students and teach them things. So I teach C programming, and I help with the labs and the projects and stuff, and that's super fun. And on the side I do like personal projects and video games, so I have a GitHub with all my like software and my itch account where I put all my games that I work on. And I also get like a lot of scholarships from VCU, so keep your grades up, guys, and then schools will give you money for free. It's as easy as that. So why am I here? I am no expert. So I'm not in I don't work for a company. I'm still in college, so I'm just a student just like you guys. But I will talk about like what life is like after high school. So the seniors and juniors, you know what to expect and how to prepare. And also my research experience. So you guys think, oh, okay, I'm gonna go to college and then get a job, work in the industry for a company, do that for like 40-some years and retire. There's other options. You can go into research and you can like work on projects and like contribute to science. So it's super cool. I'll also give you some advice from just like my personal experiences, like life advice that you guys might use, and answer any questions you guys have. So it's gonna be a pretty short presentation, but it's open to you guys. All right, so when I was a senior at Deep Run, I was in the Center for Information Technology, like a lot of you guys. So you guys may know that you have to do a senior capstone project if you want. I highly recommend that you do so. But part of the senior capstone project is to find a mentor who works in what you want to do for your project. So my project idea was to make a chatbot that could emulate somebody's personality based on the conversations you would have, and I named him Graham. This was like the first idea I ever had and why I became a programmer in the first place. I was like, oh, I watched Tron and I really want to make like a chatbot that can talk back to me and talk just like I can. So I practiced programming, and then I decided to use it for my senior capstone project. My mentor was a professor at VCU. Her name was Dr. Bridget McInnes, and she guided me on this project, told me like different skills I need to learn, like how to implement. Oh my God, what? I gotcha. Just got the battery thing.
Windows 10 to the rescue.
Okay, I appreciate it. I'm so sorry. Okay, do I just? Please don't. All right, please don't die. Please don't die. Okay. Okay. Anyway, so Dr. Bridget McInnes, she was an amazing person. She really helped me like show me what research was like and like how to build a project from scratch and then show it off to people. And it was just like a life-changing experience. Oh God.
Someone should probably call Grant.
Okay, I got this.
Hey, Grant, Jared got it.
Cool. All right, cool. We did it. Awesome. So after I graduated, I was like, oh, okay, I know I'm going to VCU, but I kind of want like a summer job. So Dr. McInnes was like, hey, why don't you come work in my lab and do research? And I was like, okay, sure, why not? Paid us $10 an hour. Why? That's pretty great. So I started working in a lab, and I will get to the next part. And I didn't know what I was doing. So I worked in Dr. McInnes' lab for about 2.5 years, so over the summers and also during class and like during the semester. And I just like worked on projects with her. So some of the projects I worked on: nanoparticle name density recognition, SEMA-DB, where I did Dijkstra's traversal, psychology and NLP, and literature-based discovery with neural networks. I had no idea what any of those stuff meant. I had to learn as I went. I had to learn a whole other programming language. I worked with PhD students. I'd worked with like people in different departments, like the psychology department, but it was super fun. Like working with all these people and like having to like show my results and like work on like projects with programming and things that I knew. It was like mind-blowing. I loved it. So I attended workshops and conferences and seminars like all over the state and like in different states, and like got to meet other people that were also working in research. So that's when I decided, hey, I want to do this for the rest of my life. I just want to research and do science and participate in making projects and then write about it and contribute back to the world of science so that other people can learn about this. And then last summer, Dr. McInnes was like, hey, Megan, you should work outside of my lab this summer and go study somewhere else. I was like, okay. So I signed up for an RU at the University of Minnesota. It was a 10-week program, so I was in Minnesota for 10 weeks straight. Didn't get to see my friends all summer or my family. I was like, I don't know if I want to do this. Also, I thought Minnesota was full of cows. I was wrong. I didn't see a single cow, and I was a little disappointed about that. But anyway, so I worked in Dr. Victoria Antarante's virtual reality lab. I'd never done virtual reality before, so I was like, oh, okay, this is like a new thing in video games. I think I'll give it a shot. It's surprisingly easy to get into VR. And I had a background in game design, so I worked with Unity, and I did JavaScript programming with HTML5, so I was like, oh, okay, this is not bad. So I had to come up with either had to work on a project that her lab was already doing, or she said I could come up with my own project. So I was like, okay, VR, I low-key want to make a video game, so I'm going to make a skateboarding video game and then pass it off as research. So that's what I did. An investigation of the use of low-acceleration vehicles in virtual environments to diminish motion sickness. Basically, skateboarding in VR that won't make you sick. Easy as that. Then I made a poster, presented it, and then when I got back to VCU over the summer, I showed Dr. McInnes what I did, just like, hey, I actually did some research, there you go. And Dr. McInnes loved it. In fact, I demoed my VR system to her, and she bought a Oculus Rift the next day. She loved it that much. And then she told the PR department at the School of Engineering, and then I got interviewed by them. So I was like, oh, okay, this is great, yay. So here's that interview. My name is Megan Charity, and I am a senior in the computer science department at VCU. I'm calling my system the Skateboard VR system. It's not a very catchy title, but it's a skateboard system in virtual reality. So you can ride a skateboard in a very large environment with no physical hardware needed. It just uses your own body's acceleration to get you moving. So there's no cyber sickness in between where you get like motion sickness from, you know, like if you were driving a car and go really fast and, or slow down at a very high speed. I don't really travel a lot, and I get very, very homesick when I do travel. I think the longest I'd spent away from home was 2 weeks, and I had to spend 10 weeks away from home, no visiting family, nothing in Richmond. It's a completely new area. And I was like, man, I miss skateboarding in the Richmond area. And I was like, wait a minute, skateboarding, virtual reality. That'd be a great idea. So that's what I did. I made a skateboard system in virtual reality because no one had ever done it before. And then I realized, wow, no one's ever done this before. I could do some research on this and then maybe publish it, and then more people can do it and implement it into their virtual reality systems. My mentor, Dr. Bridget McKenna, she's the one that recommended me to go to this program at University of Minnesota. I was a little skeptical at first because I've never been to Minnesota, but I went along with it anyways because I know she's got my interests at heart. So, and I
absolutely loved it, and I came back and I showed my lab here at VCU what I did over the summer, and they absolutely loved it. Dr. McInnes even went out and bought her own virtual reality system the next day. So it was pretty cool, and I get to keep showing people in the Richmond area and introducing them to virtual reality and my system, and then they get inspired and they start looking into the technology themselves. So it's really, really cool. I hope that the Department of Computer Science and the College of Engineering really raises awareness of research opportunities, because this was probably one of the best decisions I've ever made aside from applying to VCU. And it really prepared me for going prepping for grad school and looking into the field and the world of research altogether. And I'm really glad I did this experience, and I hope people have the same opportunities that I did.
So that was pretty cool. And then more stuff happened after that, surprisingly. Let's see. Ooh. Nope, don't do that, don't do that. Just go to the next page. Next page. Oh my god. Okay, cool. Alright. So, after that interview happened, it got published to the VCU School of Engineering's news page. And then that got published to the entire VCU news page. And then I got recruited by a VR lab on the MCV campus. And they brought me into their lab. They're like, hey, we saw your interview. Your system looks amazing. And you have a background in VR, but we need another programmer. So do you want to come work in our lab? And I was like, okay, I'm kind of already working in a lab right now. So let me just get back to you on that. And Dr. McChrist was like, yeah, do it. It's a great opportunity. Do it. Go ahead. Go, do it. And I was like, okay. So now I'm working in a different lab, and I'm doing VR like on a daily basis, and it's super fun. And then I didn't put this on as a bulletin point, but apparently the president of the school, President Rao, he also saw my video, and there's a state of the university address coming up, and he wants me to go to that so he can say what I did. So no pressure, but yeah, it's pretty cool. So I guess research is becoming a bigger thing at VCU, so I'm really happy about that. Aside from the VR skateboard thing, like I said, I work as a teaching assistant for a computer science class. That's really awesome, and I get to work with students. I'm also on the VCU's computer science student advisory board, so I'm like the bridge in between students and professors. So if there's something going on in the department or I wanted something changed, I would talk to the board, and then we make it happen. It's really nice. So last semester I applied to grad school at NYU to study under Dr. Julian Tegelius, and he has a specialty in artificial intelligence and game design, which is perfect for me, and it's super awesome. I went up to New York, I think in about November, to visit his lab. It's super amazing, super big. He introduced me to all his PhD students, and was like, oh yeah, what you want to do, and I showed him my research paper, I want to study game literacy and AI, and game literacy is how well you know a video game. If I gave you a brand new Mario game that no one's ever played, if you played Mario before, how well would you be able to transfer those skills? I want to do that with AI. It sounds super cool. Is a wonderful lady. I'll get into that later. How much? Yeah. So yeah, I'm going to grad school, hopefully, and it'll be super fun, and then I'll study for 5 years and get my PhD in game design. So I can tell people I have a doctorate in game design. It's super cool. So I also occasionally go to hackathons. So this picture is me at last year's hackathon. It was called Big Camp. Yeah, that was a lot. 2 days straight of just coding. Nothing but coding. Eating and sleeping in between sometimes, but nothing but coding. It was kind of fun. I made a video game, and I was so tired and drained at the end. I was like, I never want to program again. I'm never doing this again. And then some little kid came up and played my game and was addicted to it. Their mom had to drag them away. And I was like, okay, all right, maybe. I also go to Quidditch tournaments. So I play Chaser, and I'm pretty good. So that's me playing Chaser right there. I have the ball. That means I'm about to get tackled. So it's fine. I'm telling you, if you can go and play on a Quidditch team at college, do it. It's so fun. I'm also currently working on a new game and replaying Minecraft. I recently got my best friend addicted to it, so now I play it every other day. Minecraft's fun. Alright, so some life advice. This is probably what I want the most takeaway out of this presentation. Get a mentor. None of this would have happened if it wasn't for Dr. McInnes. She has been my academic advisor, my career advisor, my life advisor. She's just been the greatest person ever. And it was because of my senior capstone project. She was fantastic professor, nicest lady on earth, and she's just changed my life. So when you get to college, get a mentor. Whether it can be like your favorite professor, it can be like somebody that works in a professional field at a company. Just get a mentor in what you want to do, and they will guide you for the rest of your life. It's amazing. Do what you love and be passionate and driven about it. You'll be so much happier. Like, if you're not happy in your major, it's okay to change majors. If you're not happy in your company, it's okay to change companies. Just do what you want to do that makes you happy and fulfilling. And if you're not doing that, then you're just kind of wasting your time. So make yourself happy. You're going to make the rest of the world happy. Do what you love. Don't be afraid to ask for help and speak up. Like, computer science and STEM in general is just like a very hard and tough field, but it's totally worth it. So don't be afraid to ask for help. Girls especially, like, there's a lot of guys in STEM. So don't be afraid to speak up. Like, professors will take note of that, and they will like you so much. This goes for everybody. Like, speak up in class, answer questions, ask questions, go after class and like talk to the professor. They will love you for that, and that shows that you're like a dedicated student, and it will take you places. Explore inside your comfort zone. So when you get to college, you don't have to just take like your major classes. Like, you take an art class. That's what I did. I took like 5 art classes. I tried to take an art class every semester in addition to like my computer science classes. So my first semester I took Intro to Drawing. That was super fun. It was a lot more work than I expected. My final project took me like 15 hours, but it looks so good. I drew the School of Engineering, and it's amazing. And then I took a like jazz guitar class, so now I can do guitar solos really, really well. What else did I take? Philosophy, psychology. I took like a creative writing class, and now I really like writing again. I'm taking a reading film class, and I get to like talk to all these like film majors about like really cool films and stuff. So take stuff outside your comfort zone. It's super, super fun. So life is not a race, and it's not a competition, and you don't have to be the best. So I remember in high school, I wanted to be like valedictorian. I wanted to have like straight A's because I wanted to go to MIT. So I was like, oh, I got to be the very best in the class. I got to be the smartest. I got to be like the fastest done with my tests, all that. Don't worry about that. Like, don't worry about that. It's a hard mentality to break. Like, even when I'm in college as a senior, I'm trying like to break that habit of like, oh, I gotta be the best in my class, and don't worry about that. Do the best you can do. Don't worry about everybody else. Just do the best you can do. And if you're not doing your very best, somebody will note that, like your mentor, and they will make you do the very best you can do. That's all that matters. Just do the best you can. Let's see. So one of my favorite things that I learned in college, sometimes what you want isn't what you need. So there's 2 examples where I learned this. Back to senior year of high school, I was applying to MIT. That was like my #1 choice. I was like, oh, I gotta get into that. I gotta get perfect grades, perfect SAT scores. That's like my college of my dreams for about 4 years, since I was in like 8th grade. I got rejected from MIT, and I was heartbroken. No surprise. But then, because I was working with Dr. McKinnis so much, she brought me to VCU to like help like study and work on my project. She's like, hey, come work in my lab. I'll show you around VCU campus. It'll be fun. And I fell in love with VCU. And I was like, okay, if I don't get into MIT, I'll go to VCU. So guess where I am now. And I don't regret a single thing. I'm actually glad I went to VCU instead of MIT. Because if I went to MIT, none of that stuff would have happened. Again, everything, those past few slides you saw, probably wouldn't have happened. I probably wouldn't have done as well at MIT if I went there. So I'm so glad I went to VCU. It's changed my life. Another very important decision I had to make. So over the summer, I had a choice between going to Capital One and doing an internship there. They paid $30 an hour, so I would have gotten like $9,000 that summer. Great job. All I had to do was like program in JavaScript, which was like my best language. The same day as my interview, I got accepted to the RU thing at the University of Minnesota, where I did my VR project. And I was between that. So I didn't hear back from Capital One, so I was like, oh, okay, I guess I'll go to the University of Minnesota. Had I had the choice between the two, like if I hadn't gotten accepted, I should have chosen the University of Minnesota, because again, half the stuff wouldn't have happened. I would not have made the VR project. I would not have gotten interviewed by the School of Engineering. I wouldn't have gotten the job I have now working in a VR lab, and I wouldn't have the research experience that I do now. So sometimes what you really want isn't what you need, and getting a mentor will help you like see that. but that's also a decision you have to make on your own. Like, think long term about, oh yeah, that's the next point. Think into the future and look long term. Like, what would you see yourself doing in like 5 years if you went down this path? Or like, what do you want to do in 5 years? Like, just envision that and plan towards it. That's like the best way to keep yourself motivated and on the right track. And the last thing, just have fun, enjoy yourself. Like, you guys are in the prime of your life. Like, high school is probably my favorite time in my life. Like, college is pretty great too, but like, hanging out with my friends and just like working on robotics and doing all that stuff, that was my favorite time of my life. I wish I could do it all over again. College is great too, but where you're hanging out with your friends and just enjoying yourself, that's where it's at, for sure. So any questions? I don't know, am I overtime, am I under, I don't know, so, but like, yeah, you guys have any questions? Yeah.
What's your favorite guitar you've owned?
So I have owned 3 guitars in my lifetime. My first guitar got stolen my senior year. I left my car door unlocked. Yeah, it was right after a robotics tournament too. I had like, we just won Blacksburg, so I have all these medals in my bags and stuff. I'm like, oh, I'll just leave my guitar in the car. Guess I forgot to lock it. So the second guitar I bought was $30, but like I fixed it up and it was decent. Like, you know, it was my rebound guitar, I want to say. The third guitar I owned, when I took my jazz guitar class, my professor was like, okay, you need a new guitar. This is horrible. Like, get a new one. So I got a $200 guitar. So that was pretty nice. It was pretty precise. But honestly, my favorite guitar is the $30 one. Like, it was there when I needed a new guitar, and I have a lot more emotional connection to that one. So, yeah. Yes?
I just want to say that when she did her capstone project in Graham, it's known in my household, and it comes up quite a bit, that my husband will say to Graham, the robot, the AI robot, bacon, and he'll say, I love you too. So my husband taught Graham that bacon is love.
Yes. Graham, I think, is probably one of the best projects I ever made. And it was like my senior project. So, and I love Graham. I still go back and talk to him sometimes, and he still argues with me, and I lose. It's embarrassing. Anybody else? Any questions about VCU? If anybody's applying seniors? It's a great school. It's really fun. They just reopened Monroe Park. What's up?
What colleges did you apply to?
Are you talking about like, oh, either way, it's, okay. So funny enough, I only applied to 2 colleges my senior year, MIT and VCU. Don't do that. Don't do that. MIT, because it was my first choice, and VCU. VCU was my bottom choice at first, but then after I started visiting the school, I was like, oh, I really like VCU, so I only applied to those 2. And then I did the same thing again for my grad school. So I, at first, was only applying to NYU, and then Dr. McKinnis was like, no, don't do that. So I also applied to MIT again, ironic, and then RIT. So apply to more than 2 or 3 schools. Don't do what I did. Any other questions? Okay, you guys.
Where do you see yourself in 5 years?
Still working on my PhD, but hopefully just finishing my PhD, and then being a professor at some university, any university, teaching game design and artificial intelligence, and working with students, and doing research, and working on very cool projects. Yep. Cool. Okay, I will let you guys eat.